Hello there, guys. I wasn't going to come live tonight because I'm processing so much stuff and I'm meeting and talking to people and analysing and putting things into my own sort of, my own perception, I suppose. You can't change people, you can't change things, you can't change events. You can only really change what they mean to you. So I wasn't going to come live, but I need to do this before the boys are up tomorrow. My boys have completely trashed my plant today. So my plant is completely dead, and all of what is on the floor is still on the floor from my plant being completely killed. Now, it is EDS Awareness Month, and one of the practical challenges that I have as a person with EDS is the Hoover. And this, I could write an entire book on my journey with Hoovers. But being we are now going into the AI humanoid world, I thought that I would do this as a bit of an experiment. So are you ready? We are going to go human v robot. I'm going to give the robot chance first, and then the human is going to see how much of the mess of the robot one has to deal with. So let's go. Human v robot. Are you ready? Oh, I have charged it, so it should be okay. Oh, come on, I've charged you, you bastard. Oh, don't do this to me now. Seriously, see? Already. Oh no, here we go. I've charged it. So you should be fine. Oh, it doesn't like this floor. Oh, what's going on? Is this not going to work on me now? I have just freaking charged the thing. And now it's telling me no. Oh, I might have to try this tomorrow and have to sweep up and see how well I go. So maybe I didn't plug. Let me go and see if I plugged the actual plug in properly. So what I was going to do, and I'm going to have to do it tomorrow, but I'm going to have to sweep this up by hand now and try and charge this and see. I might leave some of it. But I was going to do this. Now it's letting me know that the battery hasn't actually charged. It does work. I just ran it out of battery, but it also doesn't work. So my challenge was, my sons have literally killed my plant today. And I was going to let the robot, but as with all things, like the rocket last night and everything else, not everything goes according to plan. Let's see if it's just because I haven't put the filter in properly before I go. No. I shall try again later. So, anyway, as I didn't want to come on live, and as I have said, and as Harrison's song says, what if I don't want to talk about it? In June, he's going to have a new album coming out, and it's probably going to be the time that I start talking about some of the things that have been going on here. Not because I can't talk about them, but because I can't process it in a way that is right at this particular point, and I feel that I need maybe somebody to go through it with me, a little bit more personal, to help me sort of see where my trauma and where my own perspective and my own projections are sort of coming in line. It's all right being a mirror, but sometimes you need another mirror to reflect with you. So for those that don't know, let me just show you again. So my calendar is still on December, and literally that was the anniversary of Aaron and Faith's day. And then I had security at the door, and then Dean came home, and then the police and two police officers and two socials at the door. Obviously I was pulled in the manager, and a lovely gift from Tina and my nan's birthday. And then I was paid, and then we were meant to be rolling into obviously Christmas, and we had plans going on, but I ended up back on child protection. I'm fuming now because this is 42 years of the very same abuse that I have had all the way through, as having children that are not diagnosed with EDS and are symptomatic of EDS and are being forced into a system that is not conducive with their line and management and not in line with families. And I've now got to make sure that even through lockdown, as challenging as this is, and as much as this is a hard rock, I'm now basically literally facing going to court to have my kids taken. And it's like, I really don't want to have to. If they say this on AI, even typing it, I've sort of been testing the boundaries with what AI picks up and doesn't pick up. Hence why I put that post up that got me put into lockdown the other day. So at the end of the day, I'm a human being who has emotions and feelings, and the video that I did down at St Mary's was very important to me, because I was basically telling you that since the day that I was born, I have been wrapped in red tape after red tape after red tape after red tape after red tape, and it's been abuse after abuse after abuse after abuse after abuse, just because people don't understand the practicalities of living with EDS. Now, excuse my dirt-ridden floor that I'm going to have to get on my hands and knees and scrub in a minute. But prime example is my knees. Now, I actually have shorts on at the moment, so you can see my absolute ridiculous legs. But take my knees, for example. Are you ready? This is one said, I don't know what you can see there. I've got my little tail, there we go. This is one said EDS knee that is inverted back. This is one said EDS knee that walks like that. So my legs don't go forward. I have to actually work to make my legs go forward. My legs go like that. So when I'm walking and I'm pushing a double buggy, people don't think about these things. So when I'm walking, I pretty much walk. Oh, I've got my hand over my camera now. I pretty much walk having to move my legs around like that. And people don't get this, and the same with buggy. Sometimes I have to move it and things like that, because what people forget is my body doesn't work like everybody else's. Whenever I go to see a specialist and I'm in a relationship with someone and they come with me, my doctors always say something that causes issues in my relationships, and they always say the same thing. They go, Kelly is a typical EDSer and she's doing absolutely fantastic. Okay? They didn't say Kelly has a normal body. They said Kelly is a very typical EDSer. She's very typical. She's absolutely 100% an EDSer. So the challenge with that is children's social care only have, well, 3 but 4 boxes. Emotional harm, physical harm, sexual harm, and then there is medical harm. But that never comes into it because nobody ever really uses this, because doctors don't turn up. And of course, if you are a person with a physical condition like me, who is a high-risk pregnancy, I'm not a high-risk person, I'm a high-risk pregnancy. I'm a high-risk birth. My births have to be safeguarded. In the system that we have, they don't have a care system that comes in and makes parents know it's okay, educates family, blah, 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 blah. Now, if I was a crack and smack it or an alcoholic, then we would have family meetings where people understand what would trigger me, what makes things harder. Say for an alcoholic, obviously going to family events and Christmas dinners, and people make the adjustments. When it comes to a physical condition or said mental health, this doesn't happen. What happens is you're penalised, pushed down, and basically either institutionalised, or you are basically removed from society and a has-been. Now, that's not meant to be the system that we're meant to live in. If you come to the system with any problem, you should get rubber stamped that that problem's now over because it's been bridged in some way. Nobody gives a shit. This is the practicalities of it. Nobody gives a shit. And like, what really annoys me when this woman come on the phone to me today is she goes through this process and she goes, now, I am the chair. Now, at the moment they say this, I want to punch that woman, send her across the way, drag her by the fucking hair, and bang, and remind her that you don't sit over authority of me. Now, luckily, I'm not that sort of person. Now, the fact that I've said it, somebody will now phone up the police and say, Kelly's just made an accusation. We are human beings, and what is being denied in us is our true animal instincts, our true human instincts. This shell that I live in is the flesh, okay? It is the flesh. It is the flesh and bones. It is nothing more than a decaying body that is going to rot, no different than a banana, when this pulse and heartbeat stops and this spirit leaves this body. We are spiritual beings encased in a human body, here to have a human experience, to be able to understand feelings, emotions, how people work, how we build into relationships with people, how we thrive, how we survive, how we react, how we procreate, how we manage, how we work, and you know what we love and what we don't like, and things like our senses and tastes. And coming into our physical body when we are born is that much of a shell shock that, you know, if you allow for a baby to come straight in through its physical body and into the world, and you don't quickly sort of cocoon it very quickly, then obviously that baby will fling back and just go because you are literally putting somebody in this encasement. So if any of you remember the film Cocoon, you'll remember this scene where they literally pull up their faces and rip back their heads, and inside them is this glowing, radiant thing that people call aliens, by the way. But that is actually what is inside us. That is actually what illuminates us. That is what actually makes us glow. And when someone's pregnant, you always say, oh, you know, mums really glow when they're pregnant, don't they? Because they have an innocence within them. And a child and a baby is the most closest to God. And it's only through, I mean, what I don't like about some churches where they'll say, like, we're born sinners and things like that, and it's not because I can't rationalise and get my head around that, it's because it's the environment and things around us that actually change us. It's the experiences that we go through. I've changed so much in the last couple of days because things that have been so important to me that I've been having to keep in my head and keep dates and keep times and try to keep frameworks right the way back from 2010. Well, before that, because obviously a lot of this started literally, I think it was 2006. I was sat in New York, which is a nightclub, and I was sat in the VIP lounge and I was just looking around at everything that was going on, and I was thinking, I just can't live this way as a single mother that is having to, you know, be a mother to my boys at home and manage my home. And yes, I had the support from Adult Social Services because I was at university, so I had my friends, now my friends, so it was either Karen or Leanne, and they literally worked for me, and they came in the morning and the evening to just make sure that that ship was tight, and that, you know, we were on time for uni and school and everything like that, and it worked. And I've had problems in between that, but this one works. And obviously Karen and Leanne became lifetime friends of mine, and I've known for many years now. But at the end of the day, I am the person who is the leader of my life, okay? I don't come here to make people follow me, like me, want to be like me, or feel, oh, she can do something that I can't, or for anybody to even go, well, she's this or she's that. I can't be judged by anybody but the Lord himself, whether I'm fat, whether I'm thin, whether I'm not eating, whether I'm eating fucking downing freaking, you know, chocolate and fudge pieces, or, you know, whether or not I'm, you know, eating my fucking avocados and spinach and cucumbers, or, you know, whatever I'm doing. The only person that I answer to is on my judgment day, when I will be judged. I won't be judged about what Mrs. Jones was doing down the road. I will be judged on how I reacted or spoke to Mrs. Jones down the road. And I won't be judged by what Elon Musk is doing right now. I will be judged by how I treated Elon Musk during the time of his transition. I won't be judged by what Donald Trump is doing, even if I was the woman who fakely goaded him, but I won't be judged by that. He made the decision to do what he did. He had been thinking about it anyway, but at the end of the day, you know, why would we not want to put the great back, and why would we not want to get rid of the one world order agenda? I can't be judged by that, but I can be judged on how I respond to how people respond to Donald Trump and how I treat Donald Trump as a human being. What the social workers and everybody else does, I'm not in control of that. I'm only in control of what I choose to do about it. How they feel about me issuing complaints and taking them to court and going through the ombudsman and all of them things is another thing. How we know this to be, it doesn't always work, which what makes this whole situation frustrating, because I have a right hand and a left hand. There are two little ones, and as you can see, it is not very conducive in this flat. I don't have practical help. I've got someone coming tomorrow at 11 through networking today to help me. And funny enough, I've gone and finally got the foot pump. Finally, I found a foot pump on Doodah, so I managed to get that sorted. I ended up meeting somebody while I was down there, which had an ironic conversation about shapeshifters and demons and how. And what was really interesting with this, and what has really got me thinking, is how somebody like me communicates with somebody who's got a permanent devil in their ear telling them how to respond and how to do. So it doesn't matter what I say to this person, it's falling on complete deaf ears because the devil has them. So take when I was talking to the chair today, I wasn't aware, because obviously I was dealing with it in the moment. It was only after sitting back and speaking with Michael today that it made me sort of sit back and go, wow, I didn't quite see it from that point of view. And actually, the demon that she's dealing with is then riling me up even more, and it's knowing these triggers and these keywords and these things that trigger me. So the only way, now one of the things that really needs to be recognised as emotional abuse to parents by social services and anybody within the system, any person in a professional being, is every individual should know who they are, what they stand for, what their true core values and beliefs are, what they love, and what they stand for as an injustice. We as individuals should all know that, unless we have been through the full-blown brainwashing of the education system and systematic mind control. Then obviously you're fucked. But if you've resisted that and you fought through that, then you'll be able to relate and maybe come where I'm coming from. And what I actually do find very, very, very sad about this lockdown is the people who've needed this to happen is actually the so-called key people whose lives have been continuing during this time, and they can't relate. It was like the social worker wrote in this report about it being very sad that the family are isolated, don't have anybody around them, and the boys obviously are craving friends and you know, they find this really bad, and they're suggesting that the boy should be in nursery immediately, basically, because they're basically saying that they were entitled to the funding because I'm an EDS mother for them to be in nursery during lockdown. And I've said, but you're not getting it. That is not our ambition as a family. And also as an EDS family, you can't just dump an EDS Asperger's family into a stranger's pot of hands. Take, obviously, I can't remember what his position is in all of this, but take the guy that everybody's having a go at. At the end of the day, he's got to drop his autistic son off, and he has to drop them off to family. And what annoys me, and I said this to Karen, who's the chief executive here in Portsmouth, so that's Dave Williams, his PA. I said it to her today. I said, what annoys me about all of this is EDS Asperger's. My struggles and my troubles are my struggles and troubles. And when you speak out, you bring out and you bring life into it. So whenever I say, I have EDS, it has me, sometimes we dance, and things like that, then what that does is breathes that into my life. It's why I don't like awareness months. It's why I'm not the one that pushes this. Amber's trying her best and she thinks she'll grab hold of these things. But again, it's like social services. It has to be in line with me. Now, when I was in Portsmouth and I was working with Neil, and a couple of other people, we basically came up with the concept of personal-centred care and circles of support. So it basically meant that if you were a person who had any form of thing, that you basically were the person who knew who you were and what it was that you were trying to achieve. And then out of what your vision was and what you were trying to achieve, you then had to look at the people around you and how they were the puzzles and the pieces to what you were trying to achieve. And you would basically sit down with these people and say, this is who I am, this is where I'm up to, this is the challenges that I have, this is what I'm trying to achieve, and would you be part of my circles of support? That then becomes your team. Now, the good thing about that is it gets rubber stamped and contracted by social care, and everybody gets paid a budget and by social care. So, but the challenge is, we live in a society where it's meant to be about equality. Now, the problem is we can't treat everybody as equals because it's different. It's different. Okay, use a prison or a school dinner hall, or say at the moment here in Portsmouth, all our homeless, or most of our homeless, are in the hotel. In fact, even people that were in hostels and everything have been moved out of the hostels, and they're all in the Ibis hotels at the moment. One of my friends who's staying there has been here today, helping me with Graham. So I've been finding out sort of what's going on the inside of that. So I wanted to get this robot charged. I'm going to see if I can get it to do it before. 2 seconds, guys, while I try and see if I was an idiot and didn't even plug it in the first place. See? Look at that. I didn't even fucking turn it on. See? What a wonker I am sometimes. I'm an absolute swazzock sometimes. Oh, seriously, I'm my own worst enemy with some things. But I know this. I know where my faults are. I know where my things are. But like David's just made a comment about, you know, the system being satanic. At the end of the day, it is, because it's built on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if anybody understands Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's about self-actualization. So it's about building yourself up in oneself. So in the flesh, what I'm talking about, powers and principalities. And we're not meant to be built up in the flesh. We're not meant to be building ourselves in our human physical form. We're not meant to forget who we really are and what we really... Yeah, there we go. It is found home. I can't do an ED impression, but I could try. It's not about what I can't do. God doesn't like a liar, but he likes a trier. Oh, I got him off. Some people think that the sun and the moon is basically a light bulb as well, but lots of disinformation out there. So basically, as a human being that exists, who was born from the cradle to the grave, we should have our mother, our father, our nan, our granddads, both sets, our uncles, our aunts, our cousins, our siblings, and the community that has been created within our own families, within our own community, and families that have come together through either marriage or and divorce shouldn't even be a word that we even understand. Henry VIII had very many wives. He liked to chop and change. Try again now. He couldn't quite chop their heads off anymore. So he created the Church of England. So basically, the Roman Catholic Church is the one that put Jesus on the cross, and that is still the Babylon system that exists today. Jesus came to turn the table temples over. We still exist in that very, 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 very same system. That, funny enough, people believe that the money system was created through the banking system. It was actually created through the Freemasons. So it was actually created through the Knights of Templars, and they were the first people to use gold as an exchange and start counting it up in personal savings and distributing and taxing and collecting. So this is what I mean about people and information. Like, it was actually the church that created the first birth certificate, not the state. So it's like, it's so difficult because there's so much information, and it's so difficult because I was one of them really annoying kids in these very two subjects. One was history, and 3 subjects, or 4 subjects, but very particular was history and religious education. And none of my teachers liked me in these 2 particular subjects. I was considered facetious and pedantic. And I said, what is the point of you teaching me something from a book that you didn't understand yourself, and you have no right to try to educate me with your misunderstanding and misinterpretation of something that you clearly didn't understand? And that used to get me removed from the classroom. My children are very similar to me, and then, of course, if you put the mix of their fathers, and all of my children's fathers are very strong, very charismatic, very sturdy, grounded, defined men. They've had their battles, they've fought their demons, but they are true warriors on whatever paths they've gone through. I probably would never have chosen to be the fathers of my children if they weren't. So at the end of the day, our children have a right to be within their own family structure. But one of the great deceptions was to divide and conquer. It was to alienate. It was to separate. So one of the things that's massive about what's going on now, you're going to notice more and more cash machines are not working. You're going to notice more cashbacks can't happen. You're going to notice that a lot of people are trying not to use cards and going reverse and trying to do cash only at a time that you can't get cash out for those facilities. And it's going to be quite a challenging, desperate time for people. One of the greatest things that I could say to you right now is let these things go. Let these attachments go. One of the things that I used to find really, really hard, and it was one thing that I had to really go through after Aaron and Faith were taken, and that was that I had to be hid at my friends' homes. People who had children used to have to move me around, my friends that had children, without neighbours saying that the child abuser is around their children, and people became very quiet about whether they knew me personally, because I became known as what would it be? It would be like a bit of a, give me a bad way of that people would think, but just too unpredictable for people. I was too raw. I always will be, but for people, I was a car crash. People were going, this is a car crash waiting to happen. And it's like, But one of the things that was really, really hard was I went to stay with my friend Jason for a bit, and every other weekend when his kids were there, I used to have to walk out the door with a backpack. And in that backpack, I used to think about the things that I would need to make sure that I could get through this as quick as possible and get home, well, where I was staying by the time the children got back. And on some occasions, I never used to know where I was going. I always used to just tell Jason that I was going off to my friend Monique's, and he used to think that I was just getting on a train and going to my friend Monique's. But what people didn't understand was I had a cash card for a new bank, because all of my bank accounts had been closed down after Aaron and Faith were taken. But I had nothing in it. So it wasn't like I could just pay 72 quid for a train to get to Liverpool, or, you know, or to Manchester, or to Bolton, to friends and stuff that I could stay with. And it wasn't like, you know, you go to your next door neighbours and stay at your next door neighbours when your house burns down. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so walking out that door and going, okay, chances that I might have to sleep at the train station tonight. And I've had some great times at the train station. I ended up playing hacky sack, basically socks, with Coldplay at the Manchester Piccadilly train station once. We all got stranded at the train station together after they'd been to a concert, and I'd been out on a sweep with the homeless, and we literally had the socks and were kicking the socks around, and it was quite funny. So, you know, I've had some great experiences during these times, even in the darkest hours of being on the streets at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and just walking around and just making sure that those that were on the streets were okay and everybody's got what they need and nobody's dead. Nobody's been beaten up. And, you know, some of them nights, especially when I was in Bristol, you know, it would piss down with fucking rain. And especially if you're on and you've got to try and get into a pub toilet, or for me, I was a master of the sports centres. I could literally just go straight in through the sports centre and take my bag through and go for a shower and come out, and everything was good. And I used to teach people on the streets how to do it, and it used to be amazing. I used to watch people who used to look like proper tramps, and you'd see them outside the leisure centre like, yeah, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to go through? And I used to wait about an hour or two, and used to see them come out, and they used to have a shower and a shave, and some of them used to even sneak for a swim. And when they used to walk out, they used to walk out like this, as if like they were just a new man. And it was like, I wish I could now go and get a house for you now. That would just be amazing. But anyway, to be in that place where actually, like, even exactly the same, when I knew that we were being evicted, when I had all 4 of my kids, and I knew I was nothing I could do to stop it, even though housing benefit finally paid up. It was just the fact that it was their system that slowed it down, not mine, because I was in self-employment. And it was like, in that moment, I didn't know what to do. And when I was sitting at my friend's and I had bin liners and I'd just been in a taxi, just making sure my kids didn't come through, I'd just been in a taxi, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And I just thought, Pontins. Go to Pontins. It's school holidays. Just go to Pontins. But it still annoys me that I go through these situations and I come through the outside of it, and then people come and have a go at me after I've already come through it. And it's like, but you didn't help me when I asked you for the help in the first place. And it's exactly the same as this situation with my bed, you know. Where's my keys a minute? I can do this because my boys are fast asleep. But, you know, take this situation with my bed. I've basically been saying that just before Christmas that I need to move my bed out because I need to move sofa beds in. I'm only in my hallway, it's fine. I'm going to get reports to social services because Kelly's in the hallway. My door is wide open. So look. Come and enjoy me on my bed. So basically, this bed was put into where I am by the council, but the mattress is gone. It is just literally like just rods of iron, and but the base is fine. I've got to take some of my stuff out of the base. But it's like, what do you do with it? No council, no charity shops will take it now and will pick it up. You can't ring any skippers and doodah. So you've got a few people and it's so damn expensive. But the thing is, you got to put it in the fucking hallway. And at the moment, I've got a bit of chaos going out in the hallway. I have a double buggy, another buggy. Because, of course, my buggy broke. This buggy, no work for me. This buggy, no work for me. So it's like, I've got to find a way forward. And the problem is there are lines. My mum was perfect at this when I was a kid. When we used to walk around London. Oh, here's the TV that I found, by the way. Absolutely, they've replaced it with that one. So, but you know, I've had to put the sofa beds in the boys' room and trying to make this place as conducive as possible. And they don't ever come out and go, wow, do you know what, Kelly? When you turn up here, you turn up with nothing more than suitcases and look what you've achieved and blah, 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 blah. And you know what? It can't have been damn easy. And I know for an Aspie, being in that place must be hard work for you and you're having to manage it every day. So I'm not even living in my ideal way. I'm living so around peg in a square hole that every day I'm having to wake up and battle against things that are really hard work for me. And it's like, this doesn't work. Like, I'm not getting up. I'm not going home. I'm not going to bed now in my bed, in my bedroom, where I'm waking up in the morning and I'm getting up and I'm getting ready and I've got order and I've got my clothes that are hanging in my wardrobe and my sock drawer. I don't have any of that normality. And people can go, yeah, but some people don't even have a home. But I can't live like that anymore. And other people shouldn't live like that. It's okay to understand some other people live differently. But it is wrong to deny you to live the way that you want just because somebody else can't achieve it for themselves. It's better for you to go and achieve it and inspire people than to not achieve it. And people go, well, you know, I told you so. And it's like, so I can't deal with what I call the little gnat gritting, fucking annoying, get off. And I'm at the point in my life now where I just have zero tolerance to bullshit and my time being taken every second, every minute in my life counts. So does yours. You don't get them back. Every heartbeat, you don't get that back. You don't get these time frames back. Look at the window time frame opportunity to send that rocket up. It was so precision, so timed that it had to be known 10 years ago when they were doing this to get the true planet alignment to be able to take it. It's like me trying to swim across from Portsmouth to Isle of Wight when at the end of the day we have the hovercraft coming across on a daily basis and we've got the ferries coming in and then we've got the boats and we've got all of that of this. It takes a lot of planning to be able to put that pathway because it changes, it causes a ripple effect. When I swim across, take a boat for example, when a boat comes in, so take the hovercraft that comes all the way across, it causes a ripple sidewards that, you know, moves everything, and that's no different than the rocket going off, which is what I've been pre-warning you, and also why they're going to create such a lockdown, because until the rocket goes off and until the rocket has gone through the atmosphere and passed through, we won't know the effects on planet Earth, because there isn't just one rocket going up. There's only one rocket that you are being told about. I have told you already to have a look at every person and everything going on and who has things available and who is already part of building what is the airport of spaceships. There is a port up there in the sky for the docking of spaceships and space shuttles. Yes, Star Trekking across the universe. You know, that actually is very real and exists. It's not just a TV program to make you think that there's another world and another dimension that makes you realise that you're just a little bitty ant in the big scale of the picture. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody. Somebody who'll save your soul. Jesus, he rocks. Get to know him personally. He's the cross in the middle of your heart. It's not what people think. So The Bible, unfortunately, has been contaminated left, right, and centre. All we can go with is our own personal intuition and the own personal voice of the Lord, and to understand that Jiminy Cricket and that devil and angel on your shoulder. And what I've got to understand is when I'm communicating with somebody else, I've got to remember that they have a devil and an angel on their shoulder too, and is digesting the information that I'm taking, and there's a devil trying to convince this person not to listen to me, and then there's this angel trying to have compassion, but the devil is pulling them back because the system is built on the foundations of the dark. Because at the end of the day, the DSM and all of this was created with the intentions to remove children from vulnerable adults in order to be able to use them within trafficking, paedophilia and pornography and rituals and performances and sacrifices. That has been going on for hundreds and millions of years, and it's about time that we, the humans, evolve into real human beings, yeah, not human doings, human beings, yes. So it's lovely to go to the beach during the day. It's fantastic to have a bath at 3 o'clock in the day because you can. It's amazing to eat just because you are hungry. It's fantastic to feel inspired to maybe go into the woods camping for a few days and taking the kids to be out in the fishing. This is the way that we are meant to live, in true line with our own intentions. It's not meant to be this systematic forced shove you into a fucking thing and throw away the key and force you to live like a trapped butterfly and never ever 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 as a caterpillar ever come out of your shell. Stay in there, always be a caterpillar, never will you become a butterfly. And that's wrong, because we have to go through these metamorphoses. We have to go through these transitions, because if we don't, then we don't come away with our testimony, and we can't weigh our heart, and we can't face our judgment day, and then we can't return and talk about our experiences, and we can't fulfill our own true destiny here in what we were meant to do here. So, you know, is it a game? Yeah, of course it is. And you've got to learn to play it. It's like Monopoly. And you can't have the attachments to things in the way that you think, even your own children, as hard as that may be. You know, you can't have attachments to these flesh and this bone and this doof, because it is not for forever. We are eternal beings. We are forever. We live forever. We are connected to anything and everything. We are one. Energy is. You cannot change it. It is what it is. There is no truth that can be denied. No person can counteract it or come up with another argument for it, as much as many people have tried. They will always fall on their ass or with their hypothesis, because you cannot change creation. You can only doctored, evidenced pieces of paper, and you can hide pieces of evidence, but you will never ever hide it for the rest of the days, just like pieces of main artifacts of King Arthur's castle is being found, and all of the pieces of the Bible that were destroyed are being released, and people are understanding now that just because their forefathers and forefathers and forefathers were bleeding fucking cunts, that it doesn't mean that they have to be. And people are walking away now from generational curses. And as much as people don't understand that we still live in a world of hobble bubble, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldrons bubble, just because we have iPhones, that world still exists. When the king used to stand there with the all-seeing witch's eye, you know, and that world still exists. The world of the kings coming in and taking the brides and raping them and taking the lands, and there was a law, and I can't think when it was passed, that basically meant that only lords could be landowners, and it's contracted that people can have, even your own mortgage, you don't own the land underneath your home, you don't necessarily actually own it, but you are leasing, renting even though you think you own, you don't actually own your windows, bricks and mortar. And even when you die, it all goes back to the state in your death taxes anyway. And it was written to make sure that everything goes back into the chess box, the king, the queen, and all of the pawns. And we are not even the pawns on the chessboard, really. We are nothing more than the peasants, really. And you know, those days of standing outside and asking for your bread is no different than the job centre that's just paying it not into post office accounts now, but you've got to make sure that you have bank accounts. People that are only just getting bank accounts need to realise that actually there is a different world out there. And people are driving around in clean energy, pure things, that there is this sustainable world that exists that's not bad. It's just scary because people don't like change. Nobody likes to go into Asda and know where the coffee is, and then all of a sudden you go to the coffee and they fucking turn the shop around. Why do they do it? Because it makes people buy more. It's a psychology thing to make you buy. What they put at the front, how they advertise, what they market to you, whether you should be fat, whether you should be thin, whether you should be this way, that way, how you should walk, how you should talk, what's perceived as good, what's perceived as bad. We live in a world that praises people with big white teeth and gay that take it up the fucking arse and fuck children, while we, you know, and standing clapping for a complete and utter hoax. And, you know, we've got the man walking down the street that we treat like shit, that we'll call the crack and the smackhead, that at the end of the day has probably had their head more smacked by their father, beaten their fucking ass, and raped in care homes, and just one day just wanted to fucking blot it out and took drugs and drink, and nobody has ever listened to their story. Nobody has ever given them time, because you go to a GP, you get 5 minutes, and all the chair could say to me today was, well, Kelly, and may I call you Kelly? You have spoken for 7 minutes now. You have spoken for 23 minutes now. I need to end the call now, Miss Cotton, because it's like 27 minutes. And it's like, and my actual response to that is, I'm sorry to inconvenience you, but you are making judgments in my life that basically, if this was a partner that was trying to convince me that I was something that I'm not, it's considered gaslighting, which is actually a trauma. And then basically you're coming up to the lion that you've put in your cage, and then you're getting your little fucking pen and you're going, and eventually, and breathe, she explodes. And they go, oh, we can't have that around the children now. Kelly, the children. 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 And that's all I get. Sit down, shut up, take it up the arse, stick your cock in my mouth, stick it in your fucking ear while ripping my trousers off, rape me, and I have to say, yes, sir, do it again. Do it again. Tell me I'm a crackhead. Tell me I take drugs. Tell me I'm an alcoholic. Tell me I got this problem. Tell me I got that problem. And just because you need to make shitloads of money out of all of these problems, I'm going to sit through your little therapy and say, and how does that make me feel? Well, it makes me feel like I want to kill you people. Oh my goodness, Kelly's got major issues. Did you just hear her? She just said it makes her want to kill people. Well, it does. It makes me want to stick you in the fucking lion's den and go, while also winding up the other lion next to you, hoping it's going to absolutely ravage you. Because that's what it does. So we have to learn to breathe. And we have to not be goaded. And we have to make sure that if we've got this wound here, and people can go, and you're going, ow, that hurts. Yeah, don't do that. that actually we don't have to get to the point where we need to turn around and smack them in the mouth to get them away from us, and then we're being the ones dragged away from the police because people have abused us for so damn long. We've then retaliated. And the story that I like to tell in this before I go, and Dean, you know, doesn't mind this particular story, is in this book. And, you know, as a kid, you know, he had half-mast trousers on, and, you know, he was the smelly kid. He was obviously the kid that struggled, blah, 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 blah. So he was the kid that got bullied at school. You know, but he was also the kid that, you know, they used to want his ear for music. So he was part of, I think it was called In 4 Minutes, Casablanca something. It made in 4 minutes or something, made in 2 minutes or something like that. And obviously the person who behind that was Dean as a little kid. But it meant that there was one person who constantly bullied him, constantly bullied him, constantly bullied him, constantly bullied him, year in, year out, constantly bullied him. So when they were playing rounders, and after goodness knows how many times, Dean's gone up to sort of, you know, take his turn, and he's getting it. So eventually, that bat went, and Dean was the one who then spent most of his life in and out of youth referral places as a result of that. And it's like, and getting diagnosed with Asperger's, and it's like, well, you can't constantly and not expect somebody to eventually go. And I'm a very, very, very patient person, very, very patient person. I'm the sort of person, if somebody's on a bridge and they want to kill themselves, I can get them down in seconds. I'm the sort of person, if the shit is in the fan, I can bring it back down in seconds. I'm the sort of person that if you're at a 10 million audience concert and the lighting and stage is gone, I'll turn it around like that. So, you know, I'm okay in things like that. It's the small little things that get you, isn't it? It's like not finding your keys, not finding your cash cards. Hey, I've started to keep bins with me to clean this fucking city up now because I'm getting sick and tired of it. So I've actually started picking your fucking rubbish up now, because I just can't cope with it. It's making my hometown look like a fucking shithole, and I don't want to see it, and I don't want to have to be the person to walk past it every day either. So I decided I would pick it up myself. And hopefully if you see rubbish around, you'll also do the same. You should have gloves and a mask, so put your gloves on, pick them up, and if it's really shitty and you can't stand the smell of it, put your mask on and shift it into a bin. And if you've got a car, put it in your bin and go and put it outside the refuge place for them to deal with. And hopefully we won't have... Oh, here we go. Hang on. These two. I don't know if that's going to do a full, but let's see whether it's going to work, eh? No, not yet. I shall see in the morning. I'm going to have to sweep all this off as soon as I get up on the live and try and sweep the floor. And I'm going to have to try and find a proper hoover tomorrow. And that's 35. Oh. Oh, it's doing it. No, it's not. You have to. I've still got a painted floor, remember, so ignore it. It's all coming up. And this is all wet, so I'm going to have to do that. But let's see what it does, eh? What a pain in the arse. Why is it not going? There, see, that annoys me. Get in them corners, you. So the kids have basically trashed my plant and been playing with water. So I thought I would give this a test. So I think it is actually... Now we'll see if it's picking up. Here it goes. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Now we'll see if it's working. There we go. No. Right, this is all soil. So basically, for those who think I've got a dirty house, my kids have trashed my plant today. So the soil of it is all over the floor. And I've been on the mission to try and get a Hoover today, because my Hoover's broke. So this is Robot v Human. See, I couldn't cope with this. No way could I cope with this. And this is all wet. I'm going to deal with that in a minute. Nah. Absolutely no way. Like, I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like this. And I go like corner to corner. And when I hoover my living room and my bedrooms, I'm exactly the same. I have to literally pull everything forward, everything. I have to go corner to corner. This is why no cleaners, every cleaner gets fired for me. I have major fucking OCD. As much as you're probably not getting that in the situation that I'm in, you might be getting how much it's rattling my head because I can't cope with it. It's not something that I can tolerate, and I'm getting more and more annoyed with it. So something like this just wouldn't work for me because, one, it doesn't go like up and down. It's like going all over the place. Like, look, it doesn't go to the corner. Look. So, where's the good old dustpan pan and brush then, eh? Here we go. It looks like I'm on the dustpan and brush today. What a fucking shit piece of shit that was, eh? Good old dustpan and brush, eh? Good old dustpan and brush. Let's see if it will come through this. Come here, robot. Let's see if it will do this. Come here. Oh, have I just now turned it off? Oh, for fuck's sake, seriously? Do you know there's women around here wearing t-shirts at the moment? I've no idea if it's got anything to do with me. But it basically says I'm a woman that says fuck it. Too funny. Oh, has it killed it? Have we died now? I'm going to have to put it on full charge. What a bunch of shit. Do you know how long I've actually thought, oh, you know, should I maybe go to this robotic sort of way of doing things? Because of an EDS person, it would help, and like even like tin openers and things that do things themselves, so it doesn't cause me any injury to my body. But, you know, carers are incompetent enough as it is, not going corner to corner and actually making sure that the standard that I need for somebody who pays somebody to do it, so a cleaner doesn't necessarily always do it to the standards that I like, and that is a piece of shit. So anyway, guys, I need to get down on my hands and knees and scrub this floor and get the good old mother's way of doing things until I can see tomorrow if I can find another Hoover. And no, Amber, I really don't want you trying to find loads of shitty fucking Hoovers and sending me all the way around the fucking situation. Tomorrow, I have to be up and ready for 11 o'clock. Tomorrow, literally, my tyres are being done. It is sorted. My car is being balanced. The only challenge is during this time, I have now got problems with my insurance company and apparently my car tax. So I can just go on, make sure the car's taxed, and just argue over my insurance. So the moment that's done, my car is getting cleaned. It is going up for sale, and literally I'm going to start taking the photographs of the things that I can get up for sale and literally try and get as much money as I can by the 19th July. And from that moment, that is it. I'm hoping, I have recontacted with Kevin Green. For those who don't know Kevin Green, just Google Kevin Green Wealth Millionaire, Wealth Dragon, and I seem to be involved with a lot of dragons at the moment, don't I? And a lot of Davids, so who knows. Anyway, guys, countdown for this. Do you like my little rocket, by the way? It's actually back to front. So there's my little Mars, my little NASA, and my little rocket. And I've just taken down the 3. So days to go. Hashtag. It's obviously backwards, and I've deliberately put the handprint of the red, white and black to just remind you who is in control of everything, really, in this world right now. So if you don't know what red, white and black, and why I wear red, white and black, it is my opticians, hence why someone like me has to chameleonize and shapeshift and move and recreate in different worlds. So for those that think the X is to do with that, the X stands for something else. End it. So I shall catch you all later. And what a load of shit that was. So yeah, it looks like I really can't wait to get this paint off this floor. I was going to get some bits and stick down, but it's just the art room. So for people who think, why this is our art room, it might be our kitchen, but it's our art room basically. So for those that don't get it, this is basically our art cupboard, and we are 100%. I'm waiting to put this out. Shall I go and put this by my bed before I go? Shall I go and put this by my bed and set this up? Shall I go and put it outside by the bed? Mind you, they'd nick it off me, and I need this for a couple of things. I need to keep this. This usually is in my car. Like I said, I can't tell you everything that we get up to, because if I did, I would probably be in a cell most of my life at the moment. No, don't kill anybody. No, I don't rob old grannies. No, I'm not a crackhead. No, I'm not a smackhead. No, I'm not out there dealing drugs to kids. No, I am not robbing people. No, I am not robbing banks. However, me, Dean and the kids have had a lovely conversation about bank robbers today, thanks to some children's programmes about police and bank robbers. And we've had quite a laugh over the phone with Dean today, talking about bank robbers, because obviously the boys pretty much on and off speak to their dad all day, unless he's off the radar for a bit. But if not, they ring him in the morning, they ring him during the day, they ring him at night, they ring him before bed. So we've had a bit of a laugh about bank robbers today. But no, I'm not a criminal. What I am is somebody who's just had enough now of the persecution and the thing. I don't mind it from people, it doesn't matter, but I do mind it from a system that is meant to be enabling, supporting people to be the best that they can be. Like when you see you kids go to school and it's like, confidence and thriving and all of this stuff, it's meant to produce that. It's meant to produce the fruits of the spirit, not the rotten apple. And I'm sick and tired of rotten apples, messing with my fruit. And you only have to have one rotten apple in a bunch of apples and it ruins all of the apples, so. And if the root of a tree is damaged, then the whole fucking apple tree is just rotten. And I can't cope with that anymore. I love flourishing. I love being happy. I love thriving. I love being in my true essence. I love being in my state of flow, and I love being in my true thing. And that's why I like my social media to represent me, not the reflection of other people's perception of me, because it's really important when people hit my space or Google me that they understand why I'm here and what I'm doing and what I talk about and why I talk about it, because it's cause for people to ring the police, what is just cause for me now to have to continue on child protection and now go to legal planning. And for what? Somebody's actually said that Dean physically smashed my laptop right in front of everybody on my live. Well, that's not true. So you're worse than social workers, and I just can't have people around me. It's just like, seriously, like, get over yourself. So I really just need genuine people in my life now, like the people who are here that would be having a right laugh with me, picking, moving the bed and trying to get the bed downstairs. They're the people that I need to be focusing on now. The people that are in my life who would jump in a car and go, I'm on my way for the weekend to give you a hand with the paperwork. And they're the people that I need in my life now. The people that go, right, let's do this. We're having a paperwork party and we're all going to sit round and we're all going to write the dates down and we're all going to do it. And if people aren't willing to do that in my life, then they shouldn't be part of my life. And it is exactly the same as what I said to Dean today. I said the man that I marry is the man that when my EDS has finally beaten me will pick me up and take me down to the sea every morning to see sunrise and to make sure that I see sunset, and will do everything that he can to make sure that I achieve all of those memories from my bucket list. And if they're not that sort of person in my life, then they don't matter to me. So I have things that I want to do and achieve, and I need people in my life now that are helping me do that, not people that don't understand the importance of things. Like, take, for example, the rocket going off. There is not many people that understand the significance of me going to London so my 3-year-old boy Aaron could see a fucking rocket because he loved rockets, and taking my... Like, do you think I enjoy monster trucks? Do you think I like monster trucks? Do you think I like going down to all these monster truck festivals and all of this stuff and standing around and listening to all these monster trucks? Do a fuck. Do you think I like football? Do you think I like going to football games and standing at football and doing football kits and watching football kits? Do I fuck? But I love watching my children play football, and I love being part of my children's lives and what they do. And I love being part of taking my children to monster trucks because they love it. And I love taking my 3-year-old to see a rocket because he wanted to see that rocket. So it was important to Aaron, and yesterday was so significant for Aaron. It was a memory that, and I hope on Saturday it's something that he gets to relive, because the moment he hears that 10, 9, 8, it's going to cement what's called a mnemonic memory in his head. And literally, if done right, he will then scroll down and he will see his mum's name and go, that's my mum, Kelly Cottam. I know my mum's name. She told me, when the rockets go off, make sure you look at the papers and you'll find me. So it's like, if you don't understand the significance and importance of these things in my life, like the day that I graduated, if you don't understand, okay, it might be a systematic thing to some people, but to someone like me, who was a single mother of 2 children and went to university and went through what I went through, as well as having to hold down working in pubs, working in clubs, taxi driving and everything else, as well as having EDS and being dyslexic and having Asperger's and having to deal with these things and mask them to the narrow-minded, pigeonholed people. And at the end of the day, what annoys me about this is, rather than people celebrating what I've achieved and what I've come through, about the fact that at the end of the day, my innocence was taken away from me as a child. Am I a crackhead? Am I a smackhead? No. Am I an alcoholic? No. You can't say that someone like me ever will be, because that system's just not built in me to go to those places. Do I battle with suicide? Yeah, of course I do. Sometimes every day. That's why I can't have these demon-ridden people in my own personal life anymore. They have to be, I don't mind working with you. I don't mind helping you. I don't mind praying for you. I don't mind exercising you. But at the end of the day, I can't have you in my personal time management, routine-driven life. I have space and time for things like that, where it is away from my private life, it is away from my family life, and I can give them 4 hours to work with people in that space. But in terms of my getting up and making dinner and sorting out my life and doing things, there are scheduled times that I do things and scheduled times that I don't. So when people want to say I'm sitting on crackbook all day, it's like, look, honey, get off your EastEnders soapbox and actually realise that the majority of businesses are on crackbook. And the director of Challenge Britain was something real and tangible. It was something that I was offered millions and millions of pounds for the concept of it, and I wouldn't sell it because it wasn't something that was designed for Google and Parliament and for people that were already wanting to go to another level. It was designed for the people right at the grassroots, the people who were labelled disabled, the people who were given all of these mental health labels, the people who are in benefits, the people who are in social housing. Because at the end of the day, whether you believe that that is what you deserve and what you're worth more than that. You're worth more than being born to a hospital, to live in a home, to take your kids down to the institution for the next 18 years of their lives, to build into the government system. There is a massive big world out here, massive. And it's available to absolutely everybody, where you can go snowboarding, you can go skiing, you can go climb mountains, you can go and experience things, you can have new experiences, you can go and understand the lions and the wildlife and the animals and things like that. You can live with them, you can travel around in an RV, you can live on a boat, you can live on a canal barge. You don't have to have the same things as everybody else. It's not about the Ferrari and the 5-bedroomed home for everybody. It's not about these materialistic things. That's what annoys me about people who think I'm about materialism. I'm not. I would rather be out in the stars with nothing more than my blanket, obviously my clothes, and a nice hoodie. But, you know, I would rather be sat by the beach and nothing more than me and my fella and my kids in a blanket with a fire by the sides of us, and jump into our van and look forward to the following day. This prison, and it is a prison, but the thing is, it's a prison of our mind. I went through a massive trauma, and obviously I've had to deal with failing my children. As much as people go, I didn't fail my children, I did. And I still am, for as long as I allow these people to continue in my life that is failing my family business, because it is, and people who work for us are employees, they're staff. And I believe in treating people like family and working, but at the end of the day, they're fired if they don't do a job. And that is just the way that it works. And I can't have that emotional attachment to the people who are my hairdresser, the people who fix my washing machine, the people who fix my washer. It's great that I can call them and I can pay them and they leave and they go, and that's it. There are other things that are very personal in my life, which is why I feel it is so important that Parliament stop talking about social isolation and start talking about what personal boundaries really are. Because, you know, everything is so upside down now because of the Henry VIII Church, because of the way, and women don't need a man, and because of feminism and all of this stuff, that children really aren't getting the best of both parents anymore, and people are growing up like me, that they're not in family networks, they're not in support networks, because we don't take family seriously anymore. We don't take our responsibility as parents seriously anymore. It doesn't matter how many times people try to get me to forget about Aaron and Faith and Liam and Daniel, it's never going to happen. You're never going to force me into a 2-bedroomed home for the rest of my life. That is never going to be the end of my days. Because I'm not thinking about me and 2 children. I'm thinking about me as a mother of 7 and my future on beyond that my home usually has, and their friends and their friends, and you know, it's just the way that things are for me. So yeah, I'm very frustrated at the moment, and I'm more frustrated with this fucking robot because I really don't want to get on my knees and have to fucking sweep up my dead plant right now, and I really wish that this robot was a really good thing. I might have a look at some other models of it. I might even write to them, and I might even start doing some unboxing videos on some products and things that might start making my life a little bit easier, because I can't rely on humans right now. Humans are failing me left, right and centre. I want to program something and I want to make it work in my life. And if that is Alexa that can keep my life going the way that I need to do, then that will be the way that it is. And if it's me, kids and Alexa, so be it. Maybe Alexa will help me put it all in date order. Who knows? But yeah, that's where my time is focused now. I want to know the people in my life that come and sit in my flat and spend 2-3 days with me, boringly putting things literally date, time, order. So literally everything is all in date that we've got. And you know, have a laugh over it. What, you know, some of my kids' photographs. You know, some of my photographs are in my majorette uniform or my spiky hair, or some of them are really funny, but they've all got to go in that cabinet and it's all got to be in date order, and I've got to be able to take each file out per date and make this genealogy really properly work, because you have one piece missing of it, it just paints a whole different picture. And this is the problem with social care. So I don't really mind the situation that I'm in at the moment. Touch my kids. Let's not mention the words that we just don't need to go there, do we? So I'm in Portsmouth, mate. If I want to shut your city down because you're coming for my kids, I'll shut your city down. It's very easily done. I've mapped it goodness knows how many times. I know straight away we are the only city on an island in this country. And we only have 2 ways in and 2 ways out. In fact, it only really is one. So if I wanted to, and if I wanted to build an army here, and let's just say I'm going to be on the field every day training, we will be standing in social boundaries, we will have distancing between us, but we will be training, and we will be training military style, militant style, and we will be training our minds, our hearts and our bodies, and we will be doing it with our kids. Doesn't matter if you're pregnant, doesn't matter if you're, whatever, but for as long as I am here in Portsmouth, then obviously things are coming together that I don't talk about on social media because I haven't explained to people here that I'm a blogger and stuff in the way that I do. And obviously people think that I just talk about this stuff, but this is just 1% of me. This isn't all of me. And I want to be getting back to that stuff. I have to show people how the system should be working, but I can't show people with a mum and a dad and a brother and sister and cousin. Maybe by the time I'm 50, maybe I will, but right here in my life, I'm on my own with my 2 kids. I do have 2 other children that are safe and 2 other children that I don't know where they are. And obviously my first child was killed and murdered by social care when I was 15. And a forced termination. If anyone wants to turn around and imagine a baby murdered, it's not quite like that. That's what I mean about painting a different picture. You have to be very careful with your words, don't you? They aborted my baby, but it's still murdered. So it was done again against my consent. So anyway, we're in a system like what we have seen, whether it is a hoax or whether it happened. At the end of the day, a police officer has suffocated somebody, desperately telling them they can't breathe. And this brings me back to my anxiety and stress. Because if anybody touches my arm, if anybody holds me, anybody grabs me, you could say, don't put yourself in a situation with the police. Well, I see police outside my door every day. I see police down at the common. We have cars. I deal with this situation. It only takes for someone like me to have somebody going, and for me to go, rah! And next thing I know, I've got somebody in a situation and I'm trying to go, and next thing I know, I've got a police officer going, and if they did that to someone like me, you'd snap my neck. Which is why, by the way, when I was arrested on David Cameron's, I wasn't even cuffed. And the reason that I wasn't cuffed is because Archie went straight over to the police and says she has EDS, she's Asperger's, and they listened to him, and he had my paperwork in his hand that I kept on him at all times. And sometimes people can be human. Unfortunately, most people are nothing more than a dud robot. And on that note, I bid you all good night. I did say that I wasn't going to do late night lives anymore, but my networks are American, foreign languages, blah, 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 blah. And this is stuff that I just want to get cleaned up before tomorrow, really, because now I've got to sit and wait for their reports and wait for the next time the social worker's coming out to see me. Let's hope they don't send the same social worker out, because I will not be dealing with this situation. And yeah, let's hope. I mean, David's on his way down. Maybe David will give me a hand. I don't know. Or maybe David will come in and make this worse. That's David Shayler, for anybody who doesn't know. As mad as you all think he is. He's an amazing, great, lovely guy. And probably pretty much one of the only people I trust around my kids as an adult man. And is the godfather of my children. So at the end of the day, I'll look after him for the rest of his life if anything happens for me, and I know full well he'll look after my kids. So That'd be an interesting one. Could you imagine David Shayler having to raise Elijah and Shiloh? Oh, seriously, that would be like, what's that film? Three men and a little lady, wouldn't it? He'd be like, thank God I didn't have to change nappies. He wouldn't know what the fuck to do. Bless him. He would. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to shoot off. I just really, really need to be so narrow, focused right now, and sculpt like a fucking arrow. And this has to be so precision, so poignant, no different than the rocket going into space on having to hit that ultimate millimeter of a sentence. And no disrespect, sad sack, I can't do it with that attitude around me. I can't do it with sloth around me. I can't do it with laziness around me. I need bullet point. This is where I get it. This is where I get it. It's time for me to just drop the anchors right now. Let the anchors stay in their beds. Let the people that are not the pioneers to just do what they need to do. Spend their time on their lockdown. Most people are in decent homes that they do have space. Most people are not battling what I'm battling right now. And any person in any form overcrowding, it's usually by choice in international families and things like that. So most people do have their gardens, and most people do know their communities and are quite happy with that. So they need to enjoy that. But for the people who are the motors, it's time to get out of neutral now, and really now is the time to start. We should be sculpted enough now. We should be able to come out, and we should be disciplined enough. We should be self-disciplined enough now to now really, really work on our craft. And that means to come out of the end of May and head into the 1st of June and really get poignant by July, and make sure that by time July comes, when the most pinnacle time in all of this is going to come to fruition, that we are the pioneers, we are the leaders of our own lives, and we are able to show other people how when they come out of lockdown that they don't have to be, and it's not about not having community. Like, as you'll know in the film Ants, they still had to rebuild the community. It's just that it didn't have to be done with the corruption. And that's the problem. It's not that we have a government. It's not that we have the monarchy. It's the fact that it's theft, and they thieved from us all, and it's time for them to give everything back to the people, and for the lands to be given back to the landowners, to the farmers, to the people, and for it to be distributed, and for people to understand that we were not meant to be made for a material world. Where what you have to remember before I go is, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Alexander the Great or something like that. But there was two brothers, and they basically led the spiritual world. And at the beginning, they said, when you came and faced your judgment day, it was done accordingly on your service. And then it was changed that you had to bring your worth. So you had to be measured by your gold and your property and your belongings. And that is not the true way. And it's so difficult, isn't it? It's like a minefield of information. It's just, we were not born, and I was not born, to now move into a 2-bedroomed in this 17-tower block of flats, send my kids to either Cottage Nursery over there or the Ark over there that have got really wonderful, great names as if they're great Christian fucking places that are not, and get up every day and go through this routine, and maybe take my kids down to the sea. And yes, I'm great, and I could probably build a great life here, but that doesn't work for somebody like me. And I'm not willing to live in the system that they come and rubber stamp me and tell me how this is going to be, vaccinate my children, force my children into the system, force me to live a complete life. I can tell you straight away, I'll hang myself. I will send the biggest political fucking red tape mark ever to say that I will not be forced to live a square peg in a round hole any more if I am forced down this road. And I won't live it. I won't live it. I won't live it. I don't have much longer here in this planet as it is. I won't live it. I won't live it. The boys deserve to live true to their core. I would have to stand my ground every fucking day for how my children are treated, and because of the way that the system is built up so much around me, I wouldn't be able to live. There's always going to be people that come in and ring the police. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like that what I say. There's always going to be someone, and I'm not protected properly because I'm not running it the way that it needs to be ran, and that puts me in a vulnerable situation, which is what has created this in the first place. So at the end of the day, only I am responsible for everything. So as I move out of EDS, I'm literally going to wrap up this whole EDS, and I hope to God it's not going to build what it should have done. It was a really big month for me. I should now be an ambassador for EDS. That's not going to happen. I had an article that was meant to come out. That's not going to happen. I was meant to be seeing all the specialists. That's not now happening. And I'm not positioned right. It wasn't done right. It wasn't done. None of my videos have gone out. None of it has tagged the EDS community. My dance video hasn't been shared. It hasn't been put to people. There's no tags on it. So I have not achieved anything. In fact, there's probably barely any EDS people here at all. So I have not managed to achieve the EDS support that I need. So all I can hope to God is on these last few days that I can get an article out there that wraps up what I've been going through while I have been desperately trying to make people understand what's been going on and try. But I know they can get twisted. I know that this could go against me. But I have to do something because people don't understand the severity of the situation that my family are in right now, and I don't want to be in a situation where I have to bolt. I don't want to be in a situation where I get fear-mongered by cunts like you out there, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm being pulled and failing my family because things are not getting done. This would not have happened today if my report was in. I wasn't able to write the report because, as you know, and it was accidental by Dean, what I was annoyed with Dean is he made no offers to replace it. And I'm not in a situation to replace it, just as I wasn't in a situation to purchase it in the first place. I've still got tyres to pay for. I've still got the Carshaw stuff to sort. I've still got a Hoover to be able to find. I've still got to sort my washing machine out. I've still got so much shit going on that people expect me to be something that you just don't understand my personal circumstances, and you